doing face-to-face readings out of my friend's tattoo shop, and then that got put on hold with all the lockdowns. And then I've also read during that period, I also tried reading out of different spaces. So I've also read out of a beauty salon, a cafe, a massage parlor. I didn't ask any of them. They all just it just all happened. All I was doing was being myself. That's all I was
Yes,
doing. And what do you think I'm
yes.
doing, like, right now? What do you think I'm doing right now in this very moment?
What triggered you to start learning tarot?
A healing journey, but it was a lot. I went through a lot.
Hello, beautiful soul. So here I am, Yulia, your host today, and I want you to welcome warmly Amy. She's a spiritual healer. She is a really, really amazing, beautiful being whom I met recently, and I just wanted to, I couldn't go around her honestly. So I want her to present herself to us in details, because I really saw how much she's doing in life. Amy, could you just let us know a bit where you're currently involved into, where you are doing impact into this world? How do you deliver value to your clients? How do you change the world?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. This is in fact my first podcast, so it's very exciting, and thank you for reaching out. Grateful to you. Yes, so my name is Amy. I have been a full-time tarot reader since 2019. So it's been an interesting journey. I started right before the pandemic hit. So I was doing face-to-face readings out of my friend's tattoo shop. And then that got put on hold with all the lockdowns. And then I was living in a tourist town on the east coast of Australia called Byron Bay. And yeah, I set up a table and two chairs out the front of my friend's tattoo shop. And that was where I made, built most of my clientele and business from, was that space. I've also read during that period, I also tried reading out of different spaces. So I've also read out of a beauty salon, a cafe, a massage parlor. Was there somewhere else? Beauty salon, cafe, a massage parlor. Trying to think. I think that was it. Yeah. But I ended up sticking with the tattoo shop because it was easier as the years would go by. People, word of mouth would spread, and it was just easier. People would know where to come, the one spot. So Byron it's a very popular tourist and holiday destination. It's really beautiful, and the energy is quite intense. The ley lines underneath it. Somebody described it once. It sounds like the energy of Sedona in California.
Have you ever been
Yeah,
there?
to
In Sweden?
Sedona, no, but I want to. It's on
Yeah,
my list of places I want to go.
it's really strong
I
energy. It's
Have
a
you been
really
there?
yes, I've been living there actually for a while. And
Oh,
when you are there, you're experiencing lots of transformations.
wow, wow, right,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened in Byron Bay with me. And when I was trying to explain to somebody, I said I started off like I didn't even know what tarot was until 2017, I think 2017 or 20. And so then when I started reading in the middle of 2019, it happened very quickly.
What
Uh,
triggered you? What triggered you to start learning tarot?
a healing journey. I
Which
was on
kind
a
of
healing
healing
journey.
journey can you, if it is okay for you to share with us?
I don't want to get too much into it because it's a very long story,
Mhm.
and I don't. I'm just very aware of. I don't want to trigger anyone or say anything that's too much for the people that are watching this. But it was a lot. I went through a
Mhm.
lot. And I found myself living in Byron Bay. I actually found myself at one point, I believe it was around 2016, in a quite a rundown hotel. And I just remember lying on the bed and I could hear people next door. I could hear screaming and shouting, and like it wasn't good. But whatever was happening between the couple next door wasn't good. And it was this really cheap, dodgy motel in this town just south of Byron. I remember lying on the bed and just thinking, I remember thinking this is like one of the lowest points of my life. And I kind of just made a decision then. I was like, I have to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. And I sort of, I don't know, I guess I just started clawing my way back from, I just remember being in that motel and hearing that next door and just being like, this is not a good situation. I had no money. My health was no good. I was far away from my family. I was alone. I had no idea what to do. And then in this rundown place, in this place that wasn't safe, and I don't know, something in me was like, I have to change everything. I have to change everything, and I can't keep doing what I've been doing. And yeah, and so that was around 2016, I believe. And then search through this search to better myself and try to, because it wasn't the plan. Like this was never the plan. I had the plan wasn't to get to the point where I found myself. I had like I went to uni and I got married and I kind of sort of did all the right things. And then if anyone that knows tarot, it was tower moment. It was like a 5-year long tower moment basically that I went through.
Yes,
So I
I
guess
can
it was,
imagine.
yeah, it was a 5-year, maybe. I think things started going south around 2011, 2012. From there, from between there and 2016, 2017, everything just like every single area of my life just like, I don't know, imploded, exploded.
Just everything
Just
condensed. It became like too much.
everything fell apart. Everything that I thought I had worked so hard at cultivating and working towards came completely undone. And so I'm in this motel and I'm like, I have to change everything. And so I started searching for another way. And the universe, I remember somebody mentioning tarot cards to me once, and I'd heard it and I was curious, and I'd never really heard about it before. And then I ended up going back to Sydney for the first time, and I was full of anxiety and fear because of everything that had happened. And I just, as luck, which I don't really believe in luck, but as the universe would have it, I had this thought, maybe I need to see a psychic or something. I think that was my thought. I was like, maybe I need to see a psychic or something. And then I just happened to walk past an esoteric store and went in, got a reading, and I just like was hooked. Like I just was looking at her and looking at the cards, and she was telling me all these things about myself, about my inner world, about like what I'd been going through and what was currently happening, and the potential of my future. And I was completely mesmerized and blown away and fascinated, and I was like, I was like, how can she tell all of this? How does she know all of this? How does she know all of this? And I went back the next day quite timidly, and I was like, do you have any of those little card things that you used? And they were like, yeah, of course, here. And they sold me my first Rider-Waite deck of tarot, and it came with a little instruction booklet. They're like, this is good because it comes with a book which explains everything. And then I went back to the hotel I was staying at, a nicer one this time, and in Sydney. And I just remember opening the first page of, so I took out the deck of cards and stared at them, and then I opened the first page of the book that came with the cards, and I'm getting chills just talking about it now. And I was like, I know this. I was like, I know this. And like, I've never to this day, I've never felt this way about an inanimate object. I've
Mm.
had feelings for people, but not for a thing
It just
before.
felt like remembering something what you already have known before.
It felt like I'd found the thing that I didn't even know that I'd been looking for so
Mm.
long.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I didn't
Because,
I didn't know how. And I'm kind of in the
mm,
process again of coming out of a different kind of tower moment. I'm in the process of rebuilding again, and that's another story too. But I didn't know how, but I just knew that this was huge, and I didn't know that within 2 years I'd be doing what that lady did for me full time,
mm,
and like full time, and making a yeah like a living off of it.
mhm.
So yeah,
So,
and
so
then anyway, so
when you are doing it, it's kind of like a calling from life, right? How do you feel when you are doing it?
yes, I can't imagine doing anything else. I can't
Hmm.
imagine doing anything else.
Hmm.
Like I can't. I never enjoyed. Have since also so I and that plunged at that. I think I can't remember if I was already starting to get interested in astrology and things like that. But somewhere along the way, then I started getting interested in astrology and numerology as well. And the same thing, I remember. And I'm not an astrologer by any means. I had an astrology reading last week, and she blew me away. And she was telling me all these things. And I'm like, how do you know? How can you tell? And she's like, I can see it's all there in your chart. I'm like, so I have a keen interest in astrology, and I say to people, I know more than the average person off the street. If you know nothing, I can help you out, but I'm definitely not an astrologer. But I
Hmm.
remember too as well, like going and getting my first. I had a one-to-one astrology lesson because I was like, this is important. I want a one-to-one. So I paid good money, and I didn't have much at the time, but I invested. It was all investments, and I remember like him printing out my chart, and I stuck it on the wall, and I just remember staring at it and just staring and knowing how important this was, but not really sure why, and like knowing that it would be such a massive part of my life. And yeah, I remember looking at like the fact that like Jupiter and Saturn were both in the same house. I was like, he told me Jupiter's about expansion, Saturn's about contraction. They're in the same house. Like I was already curious. I was like, how does that work? What does that mean for me? Like, yeah. So sorry, what was your original question? I'm a Pisces rising, so I'll just get lost. Rein me in. What was your original question? Your question?
Yeah, so my original question was about like, what do you feel when you are doing actually those readings? How,
Oh, it's a calling.
yes.
Yeah. That's right. Is the call? Yes, yes. So then I just became like completely obsessed. Like I was playing with them for hours and hours a day. I was sitting on my bed playing with, and again, I still didn't have much money. So to this day, I don't think I've bought a single, apart from that little guidebook that came with the tarot. I haven't actually bought a single book on tarot. And I mean, I would love to, and I probably
So
should.
wait, and how you've been learning? Because that is
I just
actually one of the problems which I keep hearing from all my students. They come to me and say, Yulia, I'm just so overwhelmed by all these keywords. You know, I read so many books about tarot, but
oh
it's
no, I didn't read a single book. No. I didn't have the money. I had
Mhm.
no money. So
Sometimes it's good not to have money, not to fill this with some crap, you know?
well, I Googled all the meanings.
Mhm.
So I went to Google, and I honestly I'm very studious. So I treated it. So I was like, I don't have any money, but like that moment in that hotel room, like I was like, I'm going to like I just, and at that point I had no intentions of being a professional reader. I just knew I loved this and just wanted to, I spent every spare second doing it. So I just Googled all the meanings. I watched readers on YouTube, which back then there weren't as many as there are now. And I would hassle anyone to let, like, my housemates, like any friend, like at work. I was waitressing at a sushi restaurant on break. I'd be having lunch and I would grab my coworker who would still be like working, like serving tables, and I'd grab them. I'd be like, "What do you want to know? Let me draw some cards for you." like like I would just like force myself on people to let me read for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny too because my housemates were these two girls that were just like so not open to that kind of thing, but they loved me and supported me, so they just let me. They were like, "Sure, fine."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but mostly, honestly, I got the basic meanings down. I watched YouTube, so I got an idea of how that worked. I got as many readings as I could afford. So I would go to readers and I watched them and I observed them as they read for me. And then I would take the readings and listen to them later. But mostly it was through reading for myself. I would do so many. I would read in the morning. I would come back in the evening, and like I'd take a photo with my phone, and I would look at it again, take note of what happened, be like, like this card came up, this happened during the day, and that was how I developed a personal, like, for a relationship with tarot. So, for example, I was having a really tough time with my I was going through a time where I was very anxious and very worn out and very run down and not well at all. And the Knight of Swords kept coming up. So to this day, when I see the Knight of Swords come up, and for someone else it might mean other things, but for me, I'm like, oh, you've got racing thoughts. They're all over the
Yes,
place
yes.
because, like, I was like, why is
Exactly.
this
Like
card keep
it's
coming?
just like how he's riding that night, you know.
Yes. But it was because it kept coming up during that time for me. So I was like, okay, so this is what this card is for me. It's
Mhm.
and the jagged clouds, and yeah, and also I read, like, I love all the new tarot decks, and I just put a post up on my Instagram, like, if you're a if you're a tarot creator, and I got the idea from you actually, because I'm really excited to get your deck. And after that, I put a post up on my Instagram and I was like, hey, if there's any artists out there that are creators of Oracle or Tarot, send them to me because I post every single day, and I use a different deck every single day. But in my head, I mean, sometimes I do go off the pictures because I love all the newer decks as well. But in my head, I always have the Rider Waite sort of in the back of my head. Yeah,
Wait,
because that's what I
did you
learned
receive
on.
my deck already, or
Oh
still
my
not?
goodness. No, that's stunning.
Oh, so I should send it to you. Actually, that's the
You
deck.
already have. You already
Oh,
have sent it to me. You already
oh,
have sent it to me.
oh. Okay. So
I've been getting the notifications.
my
Yeah.
my memory is already, I'm out. I just like my husband usually says to me, wait, when we become psychic, we lose our memories sometimes. I think many
Oh,
can.
I'm so glad you said that because lately I've been reading for people and they're like, I have to keep, and I've read for them before, and they're like, we've already talked about this, and I've been saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I know I've read for you before, but you have to understand, I read for so many people, and also
Yes,
I seem to have a goldfish memory. It's like I'm reading for you for the first time. I'm really glad you've said that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in order to soothe everyone here, probably many can connect. But I know many of my people, and probably yours who are listening to ours, they will connect to the following. I love to show this. If just like, do you see what I'm
I
this
can see it.
board?
Yeah, it's a
So
whiteboard.
we
Yep.
have, yeah. So we have our brain, in fact, right, and we either with our focus in hair or we are hair, and this is called intuition. So we, with you, in fact, many times we go in here, and that's why it's just I cannot explain. I'm already not remembering
Mm,
lots of stuff. I'm in the moment, and then every moment is so fresh. And thanks
mm.
God I have my husband nearby me so that I would be not completely lost like an idiot walking through life. You know? But honestly, I'm just saying that the focus matters. Once we truly go to this, to intuition, to the heart center, to like all our like clairvoyant psychic abilities. You want it or not, but you will lose in this. I actually started this even from the, just so that we would all feel okay about who we are. I started this phenomena about women and man's brain. We women, we have much more subtle structure from that perspective. Actually, there is
Okay.
not even one single woman who ever got the prize of the first three places in chess. There's not even one grandmaster women. Although they showed the movie not so long ago, I think so. It was like Queen's Gambit with
Yes.
yes, but this is all like
Female lead.
this is not true. There was only one who was
All
like
right.
some Jewish lady. She was,
Okay.
I believe so. Her name was Polgar, Judith Polgar. And why I know
Okay.
this because I was really interested in the chess, like, oh, and
Mm.
and I just like was fascinated why guys are actually there because there's so much calculations in the chess. We girls, we are not really calculative. We are taking many decisions from intuition.
Right.
Yes, and it's not that we are not smart. We just cannot really.
Mm.
We're extremely intelligent. Just too many
Mm.
calculations. For my husband,
Mm.
for example, he's playing chess, and he's just like, yeah, it's just he's relaxing with it. And just like, gosh, how can you relax with that?
Mm-hmm.
Explain to me.
Mm.
I'm not
Mm.
relaxing. It's too much.
Mm.
So
Someone tried to teach me chess recently, and I couldn't get it. I'm just thinking somebody. We're in different time zones, just to let everybody know. I'm
yes,
like in
she's in
Australia.
Australia. She's in Australia. I'm in Toronto. So you
In
can
Aus-
imagine.
we're always ahead of everyone. That's what I've learned because I've been reading for people in different time, and like we seem to be like always ahead of everyone.
Mm.
But somebody yesterday said in response to my daily, I post a reading every single day, a 90-second real daily reading on on all my social medias, and every morning in Australia it comes out in the morning first thing, so you'll get it, but people don't mind. Well, I mean, sorry if you do, but yeah. But this friend of mine, she responded to the post that I made yesterday, which was Halloween yesterday. That's the point I was trying to make. It's actually Hallows Eve for you right now, but for me
Yeah,
it's
it's just
Friday
right
morning.
now.
Yeah, so last night she said, "Oh, I feel like the post that you made this morning, which was the morning of the 31st, was for me." And then I wrote back, and this is what I was alluding to earlier. And I said, "Oh my gosh." Oh, sorry. She said, "Because it's my birthday." And I wrote, "Oh my gosh, happy birthday." And oh my gosh, you're a Halloween baby. You're even more Halloween than me because my birthday's on the 28th. And she wrote back, like, "Yeah, yes, we have talked about this." And I've given her so many readings. And that's when I said, "I'm so sorry. I have a goldfish memory." And then I said, "It doesn't mean that I'm not fully present with you when I'm talking to you
Yes,
and when I'm reading for you.
yes.
I'm
It's
talking
actually
to you
means we are
as a
much
friend,
more. Hmm.
when I'm talking to you as a friend, like I am right now, and when I'm reading for you as a client, like I am right now." And that's exactly what I said. I said, like, please don't get offended that I forgot your birthday, even though it's pretty bad because, like, you think I would
Yes.
remember
Yes.
Halloween, and it's only like a couple of days after mine. It is pretty bad that I forgot, but to me, even now, I'm like, nope, nope, still don't remember her ever mentioning that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we
so
have.
I'm glad that you've explained that because it meant I was here, not here. Yeah.
Yes, we have this power. Actually, because we have that much more subtleness in our brains, in our body structure, whatever, we all can relate to that, right? If something hurts your body just a bit, it's already like a scar. If a guy is hurt a bit, it's fine. So they are much more dense in this reality. That's why we can be so much more present and we don't miss even one single detail. That's how powerful it is. I just want all of us to acknowledge that power which we have. Because I'm living with a man already for more than 10 years, I see how he is missing stuff because he's doing his rituals.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They are
well,
very calculating. Hmm?
I'm so glad that you drew that chart and explained that to me. It's I will definitely be passing on that knowledge and information.
Yes, absolutely, because we really need to spread that knowledge and empower each other,
Mm,
because so many times we feel like we are disempowered from that perspective, like feeling a bit more less worthy, right? Then, and it's just like, that per esoteric lores, if someone studies really deeply that thing, that the karma of a woman is a man in the next life. It's only happening because we here
I did
don't
not know that.
understand our powers. Yeah, truly. Because when I just like realized, and I was reading about that, and just like, how can it be karma of a woman is a man in the next life? But it's very easy, because here you think, oh, those guys are much more successful, they just stand in there and much more powerful, they're stronger. But if you really think about this, where is real power is happening? We have just different power. They are much more
Yes.
descended here, actually. They
Yes.
suffer much more. They fall down much more, in fact. We
Yes.
need to be really more compassionate to them.
Yes. I'm thinking, I think in tarot. I don't know if you think in tarot, but I think in tarot. And as you're talking, I'm thinking of them as the chariot and the feminine as the strength card.
Oh,
That's what
yes,
I'm thinking as you talk. I'm like, yes,
yes.
they're that's so for those of you who are watching or listening, the chariot is about willpower and forward movement and determination
Mhm.
and strength in doing, or what my yoga teacher
Determination.
calls yang
Yes.
energy.
No
And the
left and
strength,
right. We'll be like this.
and there is strength in that. There is strength in
Mhm.
that. There's definitely strength and power in that, and that's why it's part of the one of the major arcana, one of the archetypes in tarot. But there's this the strength card is the feminine,
That's
and
how I
that is,
think with my camera.
yes, it's beautiful. So you designed these?
Yes.
Oh, that's stunning. So
Thank
is
you, my
there a
love.
line? Is there a line in there? I don't know if I can see a line in there.
So it's basically with some golden foil, you can see actually some, I wish I could show it to you in live. So uh, it's, you see, like you can start reading even through the light codes
Oh, I can
there.
see it now. It's come into focus. Also,
Yeah,
there is a lion. Is that a lion?
there is a line, yeah, and it
Yes.
has actually, it has in fact, let me show it to you. It has this
Oh, it's
star. You see
stunning.
the star into his mouth. She's putting the star into his mouth,
Oh,
and
she
she's
is. I can see it.
handling.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yep.
handling him with so much gentleness. You cannot
Mm,
really force stuff onto this beast. This beast will eat you. That's
mm,
exactly how you live with a guy. It's like
mm,
you really need to handle him with love. There is no
mm,
possibility to
mm,
handle a guy nearby you with anything but love. That's what
mm,
I realized.
mm. Life hack.
Yeah, actually, did you work ever with? I know that you're working with Lenormand, right? But did you work with source cards?
Say that again.
Thoth, Thoth,
Oh,
Thoth.
the thought.
Yeah, did
Uh,
you work with
yes,
them?
I use one of in my rotation for the weeklies. One of the decks is the Thoth. Yeah.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you remember that actually this card there is presented like lost? And she is
Lust.
actually
Yeah.
riding the beast. She's riding the seven-head beast there. And there is a deep
Okay.
spiritual meaning behind that card. In fact, that chariot, you just noticed it's so amazingly deep. Amy, I'm fascinated because you told about this masculine power and determination through
Yeah.
chariot,
Yeah.
but strength is actually that divine femininity.
Yeah,
And who is
that's what came to
she?
me. I was like, chariot, men, strength card, woman. I just wanted to tell you because I think in tarot. So that's crazy that you you were, yeah, on the same
And
page. Yeah.
she, yes, and she can write the best. And she on that source
Mm.
card, she could have it. I actually don't remember where is it. I rarely read source cards because I just feel a bit yucky from them, honestly.
It
Not
took me
my
a while. I avoid someone, most of my decks, also another life hack for everyone listening. Ask and you shall receive. I've hardly bought any of my decks. Most of them are being gifted to me. And yours is on its way. So that's another one that's been gifted to me. But and it's nothing to do with, I have no like I think if you want a deck and you've got them, I think buy it. It's nothing superstitious or like you shouldn't buy your own deck. It's nothing to do with that. I just like to have this little game with the universe where the
Mhm.
fact is I love tarot so much and I love all the artists and I love all the decks so much that if it were up to me, I would probably have 1,000 of them. So it's like this little rule I made, and I recognized that in myself back early. So after I bought that first deck, I was like, I want more decks, but I'm not going to buy any because I'll just go nuts. But if they're given to me, I'll accept them. So
Mhm.
I have a lot of decks. You'll see in my rotation, I have at least 10 different tarot decks, and almost all of them were gifts. And now yours is coming. That'll be 11th. That'll be added in. You'll see yours in my, yeah, because it's beautiful. Now I've seen it in real life. Now absolutely I'm adding it in. But I did get the Thoth deck years ago, and it's only recently I was brave enough to use it because I was a little bit scared of it
Yeah,
because
it's
of
just
the,
like, tell me
yeah.
more about this because for me, when I used it actually, but it's so harsh, and I have no resonance honestly. It's too much. Just like, how is that
I
experience?
I started well, I started adding it into my daily rotation because I just wanted more variety. I just wanted, honestly, I just wanted my social media to look more interesting, and
Mm,
I also wanted to challenge myself. That's why I started learning Lenormand as well, because
mhm.
at the massage place, when she read using Lenormand, and similar thing happened to me with that with tarot when I first bought Lenormand. I found not as powerful as tarot, but I still was like, I just think Lenormand's like really, 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 really cool. And I think it's, I don't know why it's not as well known as tarot because it's just so, it's a lot more literal than tarot. And I've noticed that a lot of when it comes up in the rotation, it gets a lot of views and a lot of likes because it's very like dog is friend, coffin is an ending. Like it's very literal, whereas tarot is a lot more esoteric and yeah.
Mhm.
So honestly, I just added it in because I was trying to think of ways to make my daily readings more colorful, and also I wanted to challenge myself because that and the wild unknown as well, and also the newest deck that I got gifted. So the wild unknown's slightly different. Instead of pages, I think they're princesses and other things as well. So I have to sort of get out the guidebook and like read what the meanings are. And same with Thoth. It's different.
Mhm.
So it's challenging myself to because it's I could do a tarot reading with my eyes closed with the Rider-Waite deck. So the like it's the meanings are slightly different. The imagery is intimidating.
Yes, you're correct. The
Yeah.
imagery, yeah, tremendously much more different. Like it's really
Mm.
hard when you just start with thoughts and then you go to another one. It's like two different worlds. And
Yeah, imagine that would be. Yeah.
yes, the names are different. The
Yeah.
symbolism is so different. For example, when I designed my deck, like, oh, oops, this deck, it was truly based on Rider-Waite.
Yeah.
So it's just like very easy for those who just start reading tarot
Yeah.
in general. So I just didn't want to go out of those traditions, and many are starting. And it's a really, really good deck. But when I worked with Rider-Waite, there were many harsh messages there for me, and I was too anxious, like you probably can connect. So my messages actually are much more gentle here. So for those who want to
That
be,
is beautiful. Yeah. That
much
is
more.
beautiful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Have you seen that meme where it's like oracle cards are like a warm hug and tarot cards is like slapping you in the face?
There is, yeah, there, I don't remember, but
It's just
it's so
but it's so
actually,
true.
that's
Yeah.
true. So this is actually not slapping you that much in the face. It's actually you
Hmm.
still get the truth, but not with that harsh emotional
Yeah.
slapping. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like you still open up that truth, but
Mm.
you do it in a still kind way to yourself. And that's what, and I couldn't find the deck for that, honestly. So it's just like, okay, I will do
You
something.
made your own? Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
What life path number are you? Do you know your life path number?
Yeah, it's 9. It's all about
Oh,
service.
you're a 9. Oh, you're an old soul.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, when I came here, it's just like, leave me out, leave me out.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
back home. That's enough.
Yeah. Nines are nines came here like um so I haven't bought any books on tarot, but I bought a really good book on Lenormand, and I have a really good numerology book that I bought that's been really good. Because I found that I wasn't getting enough. And I actually had money now to be able to buy. So like in my numerology book, yeah, it talks about life path nines being so powerful because you contain all the energy of the numbers that come before it. And yeah, and
There is
as you
yeah.
know, nine is the hermit card in tarot, and his role is to climb to the top of a mountain, spend time in meditation till he reaches enlightenment, and then his role is to come down and be of service to people, because the hermit is also associated with Virgo. And what is Virgo about? Being of service. So it's you
Yes.
came here. I'm getting chills again. I probably can't see it it doesn't transfer, but you came here to uplift humanity and inspire humanity and change humanity. I'm like, no pressure, but like to my life path nines, but you were born with so much wisdom already because you've potentially had many reincarnations, and you came here to really make a difference and to really change things, which is interesting because I'm a 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with the one
You're
energy,
quite
because when you were
fresh.
I'm quite fresh, yes. But so with the I was actually wondering if you were a 1 because you were like because you just said I couldn't find that gentle approach in tarot, so I took it upon myself to make it myself. That's very 1, like creating your own. It's creating your own path. It's pioneer energy. It's so you've probably got some 1s in your birthday somewhere, but yeah,
Yeah, there is
like
like,
creating the first thing. Yeah.
I think it's coming from Aries because I'm Aries in the sun.
Oh,
So
you're an Aries. Oh well, that's it. That's it.
it
Aries is
explains
1.
everything.
That's you're an Aries. Well, there it is. Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
really funny because I was having issues with some Aries people. Like I just found out I'm a Scorpio, and Aries and Scorpio are both ruled by Mars. So, I mean, you and I are vibing great. So I think I've moved past it. But there was a point where I was just clashing so hard with Aries. But at the same
Mm.
time, I was so drawn to them. And I actually had an epiphany when I was explaining this like quandary to somebody. And then they said, what is it that you're so attracted to with Aries men and women? Like, what is it that makes you want to be around them? And I thought about it, and I said, I think it's their confidence. And then this person said, I think maybe you're looking for that in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? It all stopped. Being like needing attention and validation from Aries and the clashing, it just melted away because I
Oh
was like,
gosh.
because I was like, no, I don't need that from them. I need it from
Mm-hmm.
me. And yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
but yeah, but before I had that awareness, when I was still in this like me and Aries,
Oh gosh,
my
let me give you a story. I will give you another
yeah.
story, which is pretty
Oh,
much.
full story. Sorry. Yeah. So I was living with a tarot reader who had been reading tarot for 40 years. And I just happened to move in with her, which now I think back about it, I'm like, that's just doesn't happen. But at the time, all these miracles kept happening. And I was like, just
Mm.
taking it for granted. Like, of course, I just start reading tarot and my business tech. Of course, I just move in to the granny flat next to this amazing, wise, motherly, nurturing tarot reader that's been reading for 40 years who sort of became my mentor, and I learned so much from her and grew so much just from being like, of course I look back at that now and I'm like, oh my gosh, and to this day we're still really close. but we were working out our numerology because I was still figuring all this stuff out. And she just started laughing. And I was like, what? She goes, you're a one. And I went, what's so funny? She goes, that's Aries energy. And I was like, no. She's like, girl, you're Aries through and through. I was like, no, I refuse.
You know, I had pretty much the same story, but with Pisces. When I was like this with Pisces,
With
and all,
Pisces,
yeah, it's just like,
I'm a
God.
Pisces rising. Yeah.
And it's just like, how can it be we cannot find really communication? But right now it seems like my best friend ever is Pisces. And it's just like, wow, it only happens when we, from all those differences in us, we
Mm,
find that thing, like the more different you are from each other, and just to imagine the Aries and Pisces to be together, it's just like, you know, but
mm.
he
Yeah, it's very different.
couldn't perceive my feedback. My feedback was too direct. It was just like, and for him, it was just like he's frozen already, like you know, like that frozen fish already. That's it. So in the end,
It's,
yes, he taught me gentle approach,
yeah.
gently, just like to really gently walk through life. Because
Mm.
Pisces is all about that magnanimity of love.
We're very, so I'm a Scorpio sun, but I'm a Pisces rising. And
Mm,
it's very porous. And as well, he would have felt like your Aries intensity may have overwhelmed him because we are so porous and we are so sensitive when we do things, we absorb things really easily. So learning boundaries is just, it's just going to be a lifelong lesson for me as a Pisces rising. It's just going to be a lifelong lesson. As a Pisces
mm,
rising, I've accepted it makes me a wonderful psychic. I can like sort of bleed into you, but I
mhm,
have to be very. I'm learning how to not be so porous and so absorb
mm,
everything and so
So
yeah. But
speaking about
lean
that,
more in. Sorry.
not to be so porous, how to establish those healthy boundaries, what would you recommend?
Oh, I've I've I actually put a post on my Instagram story yesterday because it's been coming up for me so much lately. Uh, how much, and that's why it was interesting when you asked me at the beginning what got you into tarot, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm comfortable with sharing so that I don't expose so much of myself that it's dangerous
Hmm.
that people can use my past against me, to weaponize me,
Oh.
to belittle me, to twist it.
Hmm.
While at the same time, uh, being vulnerable in my truth and honesty, which is my superpower, my frankness, my directness, my honesty.
Mhm.
So the the boundaries is it's I'm working so much on it. So I do not have the answer.
Oh,
I don't
maybe
have the
let
answer
me
right
help
now.
you then. Let me help you then, because what I heard, if you will be open,
Please.
yes, because I think
Yes,
I can
help me.
actually help not
Please.
only but many others here, because actually what you are talking about is the safety perspective.
Mm,
Because those
yes.
boundaries, the boundaries, oops, I wish I could, oh, probably like this. Those boundaries, it's all about the third eye chakra.
Okay.
So it's really funny how I like figured it out. But in fact, in the Bible, we have 7 sins and 7 virtues. And
Right.
guess what? Here, like there is the pride, Lucifer, who is behind
Yep.
everything, behind all this stuff which is descended uh, further, right? Behind everything
Yes.
is that desire to control. You know, just like we come here, we are desolated already with our physicality from the mom, from her breast. You know, so there is that desire to control here and there. So Lucifer is there. And then we start our dissension when there are illusions happening here. Illusions. And that's the safety thing. And that's where possessiveness steps into. That's where
Right.
we start protracting and being possessive about our reality. So the only way out from just like opening up that third eye in us, in fact, and you started probably feeling it, how that safety, like, you know, there is all around it, boundaries, safety. It's very going with that root chakra as well. This is like too much, like incoherence. If you have here
Yep.
disturbance, root chakra is disturbed for sure. I promise
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
that safety comes only through trust. Trust.
Mm.
So you kind of like need to learn and be willing to start trusting life. And that's why I see so many things today, like, and you realized, right? So something is wrong, and then you go just like, I need to find another way. It cannot be that
Mm.
way, right?
Mm.
You
Mm.
mentioned it in your story. And
Mm.
that's so true, because actually we started really working at least with cards, I don't know, with oracles, with whatever it is. And we started understanding there is another way of living, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we find our inner balance and start. By the way, it's not by occurrence, Sammy, that your psychic abilities opened up, because you see this thing, that third eye actually opens up in a moment you are willing to trust. So that
Mm-hmm.
willingness is the only spiritual fire in ours left for us. We are so much here. We at least have
Ah.
that willingness. You remember you told like you were laying down and you're just like, something is wrong here. Something is
Yes.
damn wrong here, right?
Yes. Yes.
What
Yes.
actually triggered you? You still had that spiritual willingness in you.
Mm.
And I want to thank you for you being here and literally sharing it all with us here, because you are the living representation, Amy, with all your spiritual willingness, what happened in your pathway. And I want all of us actually to analyze now what happened to Amy. Amy was willing to change it.
Mm.
She has done it through her willingness. That's where our true
Mm.
center is. Willingness is actually solar plexus. I mean, it's
Mm.
there, right?
Mm.
So we may think, oh, we need to fix this. No, no, no. It's already not fixable. Okay.
Mm.
Too
Right.
much.
Right.
So we at least have our willingness to get out. So if you analyze your pathway, Amy, what would you say? Did you get out of there through this or through your just like it's enough? And you just like you took that charge already.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't through thinking. That's for sure. I couldn't outthink my way out. Yeah, that's yeah, that's been more of a hindrance. It's when I come out of here and just come into here. That's when the magic happens. Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm. And you see how this started opening up. So
Yeah,
powerful. Mm.
yeah, and it really did. It really did, and it just happened somewhere along the way. Like you said, because of my willingness. I heard someone say recently on a podcast, like, your purpose in life is what you love. Is your passion, is what inspires you. And I've often questioned, because I've had a lot of mentors and teachers over these past 8 years or
Mhm.
whatever, and I've said to them, am I gifted? Do I have a gift? And their answer is well, yes, you do, but it's also your passion for tarot and wanting to better yourself and know
Mhm.
more about yourself, and willing to heal, and willing, and then that eventually just naturally turned into wanting to heal others, using what I've done for myself and transferring that onto other people. Yeah, and the whole evolution of my self-healing journey, um, to becoming a healer for others, was so natural. Like, I started teaching myself tarot, and within 2 years, 4 places, and every place that I worked at invited me. I didn't ask any of them. They all asked. They all just
Mhm.
it just all happened. They
Mhm.
all found out about me and invited me in to their the beauty salon, the massage place, the cafe, the tattoo shop. All of them said, "Come and work for us." we want your energy. And all I was doing, this is what I tell people, like, all I was doing was being myself. That's all I was
Yes,
doing. And what do you think I'm
yes.
doing, like, right now? What do you think I'm doing right now in this very moment? What do you think I'm
Oh
doing?
gosh.
All
You're
I'm
just
doing is
living
being
inspiration.
myself.
Abby is a living inspiration for all of us, for all of you, by the way, who are still feeling stuck at the moment.
Mm,
We, by the way, let me also tell you, who all of us who are listening right now, we can relate to this. Both me and Amy and all of you guys, we all still feel that fear. Do you feel fear,
mm.
Amy?
Oh,
Sometimes
yes.
confusions?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my goodness.
okay.
Yes. I'm human.
It is fine.
Gosh.
It's part of
Yes.
being human.
Yes. I'm so human.
Yeah.
I remember, and that is why I don't do this anymore. But in the early days, because of the 5 6 year tower moment that the universe gifted me, thank you. um, in the early days, I would carry a deck of tarot with me as like it was like a little, like a safety. Uh, I don't want to say talisman or omen or tool, because
Mhm.
I would sit in the car and I would be feeling so anxious about to go into work, and I could feel a panic attack coming on because the anxiety was horrendous. And but like I would draw some cards and they would always help me. They would say it's going to be okay. It's go, or they'd give me that, like I carried them with me everywhere for the first couple of years. I think I don't do it anymore. I'm better now, but yeah, I really I relied on it at one point,
Mhm.
quite heavily, um, to help me in my healing, to assist me in my healing. And I don't recommend that for other people. Like I think there's better ways, but for me, that was what happened for me. Like I tell other people as well. Like and this isn't a popular opinion. Like there's a lot of talk out there about like you need to love yourself first and you need to believe in yourself first. And I'm like, well, I I'm being perfectly honest. People believed in me. Like all those people that invited me to read for them, I never would have done it if they hadn't believed in me. And I didn't love it took people loving me before I came around. So I'm just saying that, like in my personal experience, I needed other people to be there and to say, we believe in you, we love you. And then
Mhm.
came my self-love and self-belief. So there.
Yes,
That's what
yes.
happened with, and that's just what happened with me. That's how it happened.
All right, so Emmy, just finishing all what we already experienced during this wonderful session, I would love to ask you for maybe like some inspirational kind of like motto for all our listeners today. If you would frame and like all your life wisdom up to now into one sentence, what would that be?
Mm, yeah. Uh, Give me 1 second. I know what it is. I'm just trying to formulate it into a sentence. I get paid for being me, and because I'm me, I do what I love. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Amy, thank you so much. It was a fantastic session. I honestly am so mesmerized. Whenever I see the light and the light of the soul, it's like the fountain, and I see the living representation, how the spiritual willingness here is acting, is shining, despite all the
Mm,
darkness happening. I'm just
mm.
like, gosh, thank you, you exist. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Amy,
much.
for all the work which you are doing. I am really happy.
You're so beautiful. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm so excited for my cards. Now I've seen them. Like I think they're coming today. Yeah, so I'm very excited for those to come. Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity. It's been amazing. Like I said, this is my first podcast, so I was really nervous and excited at the same time. And it's you're just so amazing and open and wonderful, and what you're doing is just you're doing good, important work.
We
So
all
yeah,
are. We all
yeah,
are. Let's shine the
yeah,
world. Let's make it bright. Let's
yes.
actually make it so powerful with all the light. And the more we'll lighten up the soul, the better
Mm,
actually everything will be, because there is a living paradise on earth. It depends on us. The next generation depends on us. When we realize that, we start acting differently.
absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you,
it's a
Amy.
responsibility. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.